Todd Chrisley reveals how he felt when hearing he was pardoned. Todd Chrisley has revealed how he felt when he heard that he was pardoned. This was the biggest news he could have received in prison. Great news of that. So fans have been dying to know how he felt when he heard that this was going to happen. He has been radiating positivity since getting out of the Pensacola prison. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. Savannah Chrisley fights hard. Dreams come true. Savannah Chrisley has been fighting for her parents' release since the second it happened. She had to take over legal custody of her younger siblings, Grayson and Chloe. However, she wanted her parents to be home more than anything. Earlier this week, she and Grayson got a call from Donald Trump. He called them personally to let them know that he was pardoning their parents. Wednesday evening, Todd and Julie Chrisley were both released from federal prison and free to go home with their family. This was the first time they had spoken to each other in 2.5 years. Some are not happy that they got pardoned. However, everyone is happy for their children to have their parents back. Todd Chrisley reveals how he felt when hearing he was pardoned. Todd Chrisley has revealed how he felt when he heard the news that he was pardoned. He was in shock. It seems as though Todd was in pure shock. He did not know how to respond or how to feel at that time. He was overwhelmed with joy. However, he was also feeling guilty for leaving the other men he was in prison with behind. Todd and Savannah are going to work on bringing justice to families. However, this is going to be a long road. What do you think about this? Are you glad he is home? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this situation. It was a regular Tuesday in Pensacola, or so Todd Chrisley thought. Morning sunlight poured through the narrow window of the federal prison, casting long shadows across the cement floor of his cell. He had long given up on caring about what day of the week it was. In here, days melted together like droplets on a prison window pane. But this Tuesday would be unlike any other. Todd was halfway through a Sudoku puzzle, sipping weak coffee from a stained plastic cup when a guard tapped on his doorframe. "Chrisley, you've got a call." Calls weren't rare, but this one didn't come with the usual warning nod or knowing smirk from the co's. Something was different. Todd stood slowly, pressing down the front of his tan prison-issued shirt, brushing off invisible lint as if cameras were rolling. When he picked up the receiver, the voice on the other end was calm, official, and surreal. "Mr. Chrisley," the woman said, her southern accent just faint enough to remind him of home. "We're calling to inform you that a presidential pardon has been granted. Effective immediately. You are to be released today." For a moment, Todd forgot how to breathe. There were no violins playing, no dramatic orchestral swells, just the static buzz of the line, gripping the receiver. "Could you repeat that?" She did, slowly, patiently. And this time, Todd didn't hear the words as much as he felt them. Like thunder in his veins. His knees buckled slightly, but he steadied himself, back straight, chin high, just as his mama had taught him. He hung up, turned to the guard, whose face was now a confusing blend of surprise and respect, and whispered, "They pardoned me." The next few hours were a blur. Paperwork, signatures, a series of handshakes from officers who once ignored him. He changed into real clothes, his own clothes. His belt felt strange after so long without one. His wedding ring sparkled under the fluorescent lights. As he stepped through the final gate, the Florida sun hit him with the warmth of freedom. Julie was waiting outside. Tears had barely dried on her cheeks, but her smile was radiant. They embraced, years of sorrow, guilt, forgiveness, and love crashing together in one hug. Their hands clasped tightly, not letting go. "Not again." "I told you," she whispered into his ear. "You're a Chrisley, and Chrisley's rise." They drove in silence for a while, the radio playing some country song about redemption. But inside, Todd was a storm of emotions. Later, seated in a sleek Atlanta studio chair, facing a camera for the first time in what felt like forever, Todd cleared his throat. He was about to speak to America, to his fans, his critics, and to those who never stopped believing in his innocence. The producers asked him how he felt when he heard the news. And so he began. You know, when you've been in prison, when you've spent days where the highlight of your week is a halfway decent chicken patty, you don't expect miracles. You stop dreaming. You ration hope like it's contraband. So when that call came through, when I heard I'd been pardoned, it felt like my soul was suddenly underwater and could finally breathe. He paused, eyes glistening. I thought of my children, of Savannah, who has fought like a lioness for me and her mama, of Grayson and Chloe, how many nights I laid awake worrying they'd forget the sound of my voice. I thought of Julie, my angel on earth. I thought of Nanny Faye, God bless her sass and strength. And I thought of all the people who sent letters, who prayed, who believed. Todd leaned forward slightly, voice quieting. But I also thought of the shame, the darkness, the choices that led us there. I'm not here to act like I was perfect. I'm not here to rewrite history. But I am here to say, I survived it. We survived it. And we're not done. He exhaled, smiling wryly. And I'll tell you something funny. The first thing I wanted when I heard I was pardoned. Not champagne. Not a steak dinner. I wanted a real pillow. One that doesn't feel like it's stuffed with regret and government cotton. And Julie, God love her, she brought me one. Memory foam. Monogrammed. Because that's how a Chrisley does it. The interviewer chuckled, but Todd grew serious again. A pardon doesn't erase the time, or the pain, but it gives you back your name. And for someone like me, someone who built a life around family, reputation, and faith, getting your name back means everything. The camera panned slowly as Todd ended his monologue, looking directly into the lens, his voice calm and clear. I walked out of prison today, not just a free man, but a changed man. And I want the world to see what grace looks like after the fall. I've been given another shot, and I intend to make it count. The red recording light clicked off. The room erupted in applause. Backstage, Savannah clutched her father tightly. Dad, she whispered, the world needs to hear your story. Todd nodded, tears finally escaping. Then let's tell it, Chrisley style. That night, Todd sat at his old kitchen table, sipping sweet tea, laughter echoing through the house. Julie was cooking again. Grayson and Chloe argued over who had the better playlist. Nanny Faye was holding court, threatening to get matching Pardo NED tattoos with Todd. He looked around and smiled. The past would always be there, but so would the future. And Todd Chrisley, once imprisoned and disgraced, now pardoned and reborn, was ready to live it fully. With gratitude, with faith, and with a camera or two, of course.